Hello, everyone. Welcome to Work It Daily. Just so I know that you guys can hear me and see me, okay? Can you just put something in the chat, say hello, say everything's fine in terms of sound. You can see everything. That would be awesome. We've been having a few technical issues with the live videos in the last few weeks, so I just want to make sure that we are good to go before we get started. So, let's see who's here. Just going to sprite the chat. Awesome. Ooh, echoing again. Okay. All right. I'll restart. Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. We were having a few echoes earlier. Thank you so much for your feedback on that. Can everybody hear me okay now? Is the sound better? Not echoing, hopefully? Hopefully you can hear me all together. Just let me know in the chat before we get started, so that way we are good to go moving forward. All right. Yes, good to go. Thank you, Maureen. Awesome, Philip. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I think we identified the problem, so hopefully we won't be dealing with that anymore with these live sessions. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Awesome. How are you, everybody? Hopefully you had a great weekend. And I'm really excited for today's session. It's a little bit of a mixture between our session last week, but kind of deep diving into some of your career tools, your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile. And I wanted to share some of my tips for kind of streamlining those tools, because sometimes it can be challenging to have to write a whole resume and apply for a job that you just saw, yesterday, and you want to get on top of it. So I have a few tips to kind of streamline that process while making sure that your resume is hitting all the right points. Your cover letter is talking about the right things, and of course your LinkedIn profile is saying the right thing to employers when they're searching for you. So we'll get into a little bit of those things today. Of course, just so you know, the supplemental courses that you'll want to reference for this particular session, the resume plan, the cover letter plan, and the LinkedIn plan. You can find those all in the courses tab inside Work It Daily. Okay, there's templates, there's examples, more in-depth tutorials. So definitely check those out if you haven't already. And of course, if you have any questions about resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, please get them ready, and I'll be happy to answer those for you at the end of this session, okay? All right, so who is here? We have Maureen, Erica, Philip, Claire, Christopher, Michelle, Erica. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started here. All right, optimizing your career tools. So, what are we talking about today? So we're talking about a little bit about the ATS, understanding a little bit more about that. We did discuss this a little bit last week, but I want to kind of reiterate on this because it's so important when it comes to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, just applying in general. It's a good thing to really understand how this could be hurting you in terms of your job search. So we're going to hit on that a little bit today. Of course, we're going to talk about writing your resume, writing your cover letter, and optimizing your LinkedIn profile. So that way you are really branding yourself well. You are increasing your chances of getting through those systems and getting in the hands of a hiring manager and getting brought into an interview. So let's get started here. So just so you guys know, if you don't know me, I think most of you do. I've chatted with you guys before, but I am one of the career growth specialists inside Work It Daily. I'm always in there chatting with you guys along with our other coaches, Christina, JT, and I love working with you guys. And doing these tools, the resume, the cover letter, LinkedIn profile, those are some things that I'm really passionate about, especially cover letters. If some of you guys know me well, you know that I'm kind of a geek about cover letters. So I have some tips for you specifically around that, which I'm excited to share. Okay, so just to go over the ATS, the applicant tracking system. So what is this? What do you need to know? Let's kind of touch on that a little bit. So ATS, applicant tracking software, applicant filtering software, it's kind of a tool that employers use to essentially eliminate ill-fitting candidates, right? They're built to make recruiters and hiring teams' jobs easier by filtering out unqualified candidates. So with the online job boards and the ease of applying to jobs, using computers, technology, your phones, a lot of employers are getting a lot of resumes and candidates who are really not qualified for the opportunities they're applying for. So they're getting flooded with these candidates who are just kind of making the whole process longer. They're just swamped with resumes and applications. So they're trying to figure out how to make this more efficient for their hiring team, because they need to fill positions fast. They want to get the right talent in there. So this software is designed to essentially filter out people who do not showcase the right things on their resume, their applications, and so on. So while this was built to kind of make this process easier, it also can hurt the job seeker, because if you're not showcasing the right skill sets, keywords, or anything else in your application that they need to see, you're probably going to be filtered out of that system, right? So you could be a perfect candidate for an opportunity. You could have all the right skill sets, all the experience, everything that you need to have in terms of requirements, but if you're not showcasing that effectively on your career tools, your application, then the ATS is going to filter you out, okay? It's a flawed system, but it's built to essentially weed out candidates who are not going to essentially match up with that job description. So this is really important to know, because it will help you optimize your tools. Okay, so if you're not a 90 to 100% match for a job, it's going to be very hard for you to get past that system, that filtering system, because it is built to toss candidates who aren't going to be the top matches for a position, because they want to make sure that they're only getting the best of the best for this role and the most relevant people. So it's really important that you showcase, again, those skill sets, the keywords, the requirements, making sure that you're filling out the application, every field, correctly. So it's really important to know that if you're going to, find a job in this day and age. So if you're not getting any job interviews, the approach that you have with your career tools, your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile are probably, you probably need to rethink that strategy. But also, and something I didn't mention in this particular slide deck, we actually will have a whole session around this at some point. But if you are not getting any job interviews, it could be because your tools aren't optimized correctly, but it also could be that your applications aren't, you're just focusing on those online job boards. You're not filling out every field in your online application. Things like that can really hold you back from even getting to the point where they can give you a call. Okay, so if you're focusing all of your time on online job boards and applying online, you really want to rethink that strategy. And I encourage you to check out the Make Recruiters Come to You course and the Job Search Plan course if you're really struggling with this and if you're really focusing most of your time on the online job boards. But another piece of this is if your resume, if your cover letter, if your LinkedIn profile are not optimized, they're not conveying the right information and quickly, it's going to really take a negative effect on this process for you, okay? So the first thing we'll go over is writing your resume, all right? So there are a few new rules that you need to be thinking about when you're writing your resume. So it's really important that you take a customized approach here. In the past, people have sent out resumes that are just create one big resume, include every single thing you've ever done in your career on this resume. It's just a ton of information. It's long. It's really kind of making the recruiter or hiring team dig for the right relevant information, and that can really hold you back if you're trying to include everything. All right. So it's really important that you take the most relevant information, keywords, skill sets, and promote those on the top of your resume, so that way it's easy for the hiring team to figure out how you're going to add value quickly. What skill sets do you have to offer? It also allows you to focus on the right keywords and skill sets based on that particular job. So right here we have focus on skills and keywords that tie to that job. A way you can do that, we're going to show you in a second. It's just important to make sure that you are being very customized to the specific opportunities, because it's going to help you show them that you understand the role, you understand the opportunity, and you're really only showing them what they need to see. Okay, a big question that we get all the time here at Work It Daily is, well, if I'm not showcasing everything on my resume, they're gonna want to learn more about me. And so here's the thing: if they want to learn more about you and your experience, they're gonna probably pick up the phone and give you a call, and that's exactly where you want them to be, that you want them to give you that call. So that way you can explain more in depth about your experience, about your skills, and how you've used them in the past and why you're a good fit. So it's really important that you do only focus on the most relevant information, so you can essentially position yourself to show them, yes, I understand my skill sets, how they're going to allow me to add value in this particular role, and I know exactly what you're looking for. So that way you don't have to dig through 4 or 5 pages of resume to understand that I would be a great fit for this job, okay? So definitely take a customized approach. Keep your formatting simple, okay? It's important to not overwhelm the reader. Again, if you're listing everything, if you're trying to maximize the space on the page, it's going to be really hard for the reader to identify, how you add value quickly. If I have to dig through paragraphs, if there's a ton of formatting, my eye's distracted, I'm going to be overwhelmed. And it's going to be harder for me to really see the value that you can add because, you're all over the place in my mind. So keep it customized, focus on the right skills and keywords, depending on that job, and keep your formatting simple. Really, really important. Those are the top 3 things I would say for the new resume. And of course, for more really great tips in terms of formatting and content, definitely check out the resume plan tutorial. It really goes in depth, step by step, what you need to do, why you need to do it, and we have some great templates and examples in there as well. Okay, so here's some tricks that you can use in order to streamline this process. So again, like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of people who they find jobs on a Friday and they want to be applying on Saturday, or they find a job on a Wednesday and they want to apply that night. And that's really important. You want to jump on those opportunities and not spend 2-3 days a week getting your materials ready so you can apply for this opportunity, because you never know when that posting is going to be pulled. In fact, if the posting has been there for a while, you never know if they've already gotten candidates in and they've essentially filled the position. So it's important for you to jump on those opportunities and not wait. So you can save time by creating a master resume. So this resume will allow you to essentially list everything you've ever done in your career, all of your skill sets, all of your accomplishments, any requirements that you have. This is essentially just your this is my career in full, okay? And this is something that you want to keep to yourself. Okay, so this is something that you're essentially going to use as a reference, and you're going to copy and paste the most relevant information from this master resume and pop it into our template when you apply for jobs. So that way it takes you 5-10 minutes as opposed to, 3 or 4 days. Right? So you're taking all the relevant information, it's already there in front of you, you're copying and pasting it into this more customized 1 to 2 page resume, or 1 to 3 page resume depending on your experience and your career level. But it's really going to allow you to look at that job description and say, these are the things that they want to know about me, these are the skill sets they need to have in order to make sure that this role is actually contributing to the organization. These are the things that I need to focus on. Okay, so taking the information from that big, long master resume and copying and pasting the most relevant stuff so you can shorten your resume, you're focusing on the right stuff. It's going to be key when you want to stand out in this process. Okay, it's also going to allow you to showcase the right skills and keywords, so that way you do have a better chance of getting through any filtering software, because you're really focusing on the main most relevant keywords. Okay, really important. Now, my biggest tip in terms of customizing your resume is to review the job posting for specific skills and keywords. Okay, so I teach people this all the time inside of Work It Daily. If you don't know what skill sets, keywords, requirements you should be showcasing, you just go right back to your guide. Your job posting is your guide. You go back there and you scan the job posting and you look for any hard skill sets, transferable skill sets. You want to look for requirements, keywords. Think about the opportunity as a whole and say, okay, how is my experience going to translate to this? And what skill sets can I pull from my past experience to that relate to this particular role, so I can really position myself to show them that I understand the role, I have the skill sets, and I'm a good fit for this opportunity. Okay, so if you scroll through the job posting, you can go and see these skill sets. Usually they will kind of mask them by saying like, manage a team of 12 people in the customer experience department. Okay, so you have to kind of decode that. And, from that, you can essentially deduct that it's team management is a good skill set that you can take from that. There are other ones that, you can essentially work with our coaches to decode these job descriptions. So that way you're really focusing in on the right skill sets. It's going to allow you to increase your chances of getting past the ATS because it's based on specific keywords in that job description, specific requirements, and skill sets, and each one is set up differently. So it's really important that you do focus on the specific job, focusing on the specific keywords and skill sets for that specific job, because every ATS system is built differently. They look for different things, and if you can hone in on that opportunity and really pull from that, and then tie in your own experience, it's really going to help you get past those systems, get past the hiring team, and so on. So if you are having trouble with this, I believe we have a tutorial that will essentially walk you through how to do this with visuals, and I'll try to find that for you guys and post it in the comments below this recording. But if I can't, maybe we'll do another live session around that. But in the meantime, please reach out to our coaching team if you need help figuring out how to decode these job descriptions so you can pull the right information from them. Okay, really, really important. Okay, so the other thing you want to do is showcase quantifiable accomplishments. So instead of just listing your responsibilities, share the projects that you worked on in these particular roles and add numbers to them. Okay, so like going back to that example, manage a team of 12 on the customer experience department. That is technically a quantifiable accomplishment, right? So it's, not only part of your job, but you're also adding that number in there to show the depth of your experience. You're capable of managing a small to mid-sized team, in this department, and you can handle that type of, work, that type of, those skill sets. You have that type of team management skill set, but it shows the depth of that experience. And this is really important because if you don't list any numbers, if you just say manage my team or manage a team on the customer support in the customer support department, I really have no idea as a hiring manager, how much experience you really have in that area. You could have managed this team for a week, for all I know. You could have managed 2 people. When I really need you to take control of a bigger department. So it's important for you to showcase with numbers, what are those accomplishments that you've held, and making sure that you choose accomplishments that support the skill sets that you are showcasing above that relate to the role. Okay, it's really important to kind of give them that frame of reference so they know that you do in fact have that experience. Okay. All right, so my last tip for the resume is to really leverage the empty space in the page. A lot of people come to us when they first join Workdaily, and like I said, they try to cram as much as possible on their resume to kind of keep it, 1 to 2 pages. And unfortunately, it's not really serving them because it's very overwhelming. Not sure where to look. You're cramming too much information on one page, and my eye doesn't know where to go. So I have to dig through all this formatting, all this text, a ton of stuff in order to figure out how you're going to add value and why you're going to be a good team member. And, as we went over last week, recruiters only spend about 6 seconds scanning resumes before they decide yes or no, we're going to move them forward or not. And so if you can't grab my attention and I can't immediately see your value and how you're going to add value to this particular role, then your chances of going in the no pile are increased, right? So if you can leverage empty space on your resume to draw the eye into certain areas, a headline, your skill sets, quantifiable accomplishments, things like that, it makes it easier for them to see why you're a good fit. So as a job seeker, your role is to make it as easy as possible for the hiring team to see your value. And, this might seem like it's not going to help you because you're wasting all this space on your resume, but it actually does help you kind of sell yourself without overwhelming the reader. Okay, so, and again, we have a great template inside the resume plan tutorial that you should definitely check out. Okay, so that was your resume. Let's go over some of your these cover letter rules and some tricks to kind of streamline this process for you. Okay, so what are the new cover letter rules? So first off, cover letters, a lot of people think that they are dead. They're not worth writing or sending because no one reads them. And I have to tell you that if you're using the more traditional cover letter approach where you're saying things like, to whom it may concern, I'm applying for the X, Y, and Z position at the ABC company, and bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, this is my experience, essentially reiterating your resume. If you're going with that approach, then yes, it is not worth doing, because that is essentially taking your resume and putting it into a different format for the most part, telling them what job that you're applying for, and then essentially reiterating your resume. It's not an effective use of this tool. The cover letter was originally there to help hiring teams understand your ability to write and convey information and communicate, and now it's more about more of a tool to help you connect with the company, showcase why you're a good fit, but also, and more importantly, why you get this company and why you would be proud to represent them. It's really important that you embrace this, because this is really what's going to help you stand out. And this type of cover letter, which what we call a disruptive cover letter, you're sharing a story as opposed to reiterating information on your resume. This is what's going to help you stand out, and it's what's going to help you move forward. So you really want to take this approach. Cover letters are so important if you do them right, because they are essentially the voice of your resume, right? They should say what your resume can't say. They should say why you want to work for this company, why you're motivated to do what you do, and you want to share an example of a time that you were able to do this type of work and get great results. This essentially is your pitch without being too pitchy, I guess. So it's important to not only customize your cover letter for each job, but focus on a powerful story that can connect you with that organization. And that's why it's important to not just have a one cover letter that you send out to everybody. It's important that you do, in fact, customize it for each opportunity, because you want to speak directly to the organization that you're applying to, right? You want to speak to the role that you're pursuing. This is not only going to show them that you took the time, but it's also going to show them that this matters to you because you really want to work for this organization. They can see that you're passionate about what you do and that you would be proud to represent this organization, and that's going to help you stand out in this process. So customizing your cover letter is just as important as customizing your resume. Now, you want to focus on your connection with this company. This is really important. You don't have to be 100% in love with this company. You didn't have to follow this company since birth. You just have to have enough information to say, this is a company that I can get behind. This is a company that I would feel proud to represent based on what I've learned about it. And it also shows them, again, you did your homework. You really care about this opportunity to the point where you want to find a way to connect with this organization, show them that you will in fact fit in here because it's something that you can get behind. You feel proud to represent this organization. Really important. And you want to keep it concise but compelling, right? So keep it short. Don't send them a novel, but also, make sure that you're giving enough information that it's compelling enough that they want to give you a call, right? So what we do in Work It Daily, what we teach is showcase your company connection story at the beginning, then showcase, what you do and why you're motivated to do it every day. Second piece. Third piece is sharing one narrative example of a time that you were able to do this type of work and get great results. And then that third piece is when you share the information. I'm applying for this role. Here's my contact information. Thanks so much. You want to close the deal, essentially. So it's really simple to kind of break this down into these parts. And it's going to actually help you streamline the process moving forward, because I know that cover letters are a huge pain for a lot of people. They hate writing them. They hate writing in general. And, cover letter writing can be hard. That said, if you take our approach, it can get easier and I dare say more fun when you actually, use our approach here. Okay, so how do you do that? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to get them with an attention grabbing hook. So what's something that will, get them interested, pique their interest? A lot of people will start their cover letters in our program and say, I remember a time that I first heard about your company, or I remember a time that I realized why your company existed, ... Or the first time I realized why your organization is important, ... Something like that. And we have some great examples in the cover letter plan that you should definitely check out if you haven't already, to showcase this, attention grabbing kind of hook. That will allow you to kind of get their interest quickly. Because again, they're only looking at these materials for a few seconds. So you want to make sure that you grab them, literally at hello. Showcasing something fun, compelling, something even just a little bit confusing or like just intriguing at the very beginning will help you get their attention. And another way to do this is to break up your cover letter with bolded headlines that kind of introduce each paragraph. And that's a way to kind of pique interest continually through that cover letter. So that way you're keeping them, you're grabbing them and you're keeping them moving through the story that you're sharing with them. These are just simple formatting. This is just a simple formatting trick that will allow you to essentially encourage them to keep moving forward. A lot of cover letters, when they first, get sent to us, just tons and tons of dense paragraphs, text, and it's just, I open it up and I read these every single day, and I love cover letters, but I get overwhelmed because as a hiring manager, time is, what is time? Like, I have no time to read through all of this to figure out why you're a good fit, why you want to work here. So if you can break it up into manageable bite-sized pieces and tease each paragraph, that's really going to help me to, break it down, understand how you're going to add value, why you feel this opportunity is a good fit. Okay. Now, going back to those connection stories, those, why you want to work for this company, if you need to write a cover letter quickly, what I encourage you to do, and you should do this, in your job search in general, but so one thing that we teach and you can learn this in the Make Recruiters Come to You course, as well as the job search plan, but we teach something called creating a company bucket list. And that essentially is, you narrowing down 10 to 20 companies in your area that you want to pursue. And what you should be doing for each of these companies is writing a little paragraph about each of those companies, about why you want to work there, just for your own notes. What is it about this organization that you can get behind? Why do you respect, appreciate, or admire this organization? Why would you feel proud to work there? You should have a little blurb for each of these companies that you're putting on your list. So that way, every time you interact with somebody from the organization, every time you write a cover letter, you're going to have something meaningful to say, and you're going to have the same story every single time, right? So this is actually going to help you streamline this process of writing a cover letter, because if you already have these written out for you, you can essentially pull those into your cover letter template, pop it in, make a couple of tweaks, and essentially, continue with the rest of your cover letter. If you're essentially, you want to offer the same service or the similar service for each role that you're applying for. So, for example, if you're trying to go for a customer service type of position, you can keep that middle section, what you do and why you're motivated to do it. That can essentially be the same with probably a few tweaks. Your example should follow the middle section. So if you're talking about customer service, why you're motivated to do it, that third section should essentially have an example that supports that. And you can essentially take, those two things can essentially stay the same unless you're going for a completely different role. Okay, so this can actually help you streamline this process. So once you have those other paragraphs, it's more about swapping in and out those company connection stories. And this has helped a lot of people kind of streamline this process, so they're not spending hours trying to figure out the right words to say in their cover letter. Okay, so, and of course, if you have any questions or you really need someone to kind of work through the cover letter with you, our coaching team is here. Again, we're obsessed with cover letters, and so we're happy to help you kind of make this the best it can be. All right. Okay, on to building your LinkedIn profile. So, things that you need to be doing on your LinkedIn profile. Again, it's all about customization. Write a customized, didn't swap this one out. Whoops. Okay, so sorry about that. Don't know what happened here. But what you want to do, and actually I'll switch over here, but what you want to do is write a customized headline. At the top of your LinkedIn profile, you have a headline that you can put whatever you want. And a lot of people choose to just put their title in there, but you should, and you can totally have your title in there if you want to, but you should also incorporate the top 4 to 5 key hard skill sets that you have to offer in that headline, so that way you're optimizing your profile for those key skill sets, but you're also showing people right off the bat how you're going to add value. Okay, so thinking about those skill sets that you're showcasing in your resume, how they support that service that you provide, what are the top 4 to 5 skill sets that you want to be recognized for and found on on LinkedIn, right? So you can have customer support specialist as your headline or your title, but then you would essentially add in other hard skill sets that support that. So, customer service, client relations, administrative support, IT troubleshooting, things like that. Those are hard skill sets that directly support that service that you provide. They also, essentially show people exactly how you add value and what expertise you have to offer. So important to leverage that headline in LinkedIn to, showcase those things. Okay, the other thing you want to do is to have endorsements and recommendations on your profile. Okay, those are things that they're essentially like third-party reviews of you as a professional. Okay, endorsements are essentially people endorsing you for certain skill sets. It helps you optimize your profile, and it showcases those key skill sets that you want to showcase. Recommendations are, again, essentially reviews of you as a professional from your colleagues, from your clients, from anybody that you've worked with, old bosses, old coworkers. These are all ways that you can help demonstrate your soft skills without having to list them on your profile or your resume, because as we've discussed in the past, it's all about the hard skill sets at this point in the process in terms of optimization, because you want to be found for these hard skill sets so people know that you have the skill sets, the hard skill sets it takes to actually do the job. And then the second phase in the interview portion, that's when you can really demonstrate through narrative examples of how you have soft skills and character traits and that kind of thing. But recommendations will help you kind of position yourself early without having to, waste space on your resume or your LinkedIn profile. This is a specific section on your profile that will help you kind of give you a little character boost, essentially. And the last thing that I want to share, in terms of LinkedIn tips is making sure, again, it's all about the keywords, really showcasing the right skill sets, the right keywords as they relate to that service that you've chosen to provide as an employee. Okay, making sure that it's for the most part consistent with your resume. Obviously, your resume is going to be tweaked a little bit here and there for each role, but that main service that you provide as an employee should be pretty consistent throughout your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Because the last thing you want to do is have a resume go out to an employer, they're super impressed, then they go to read your LinkedIn profile and it's a completely different service that you provide, or you're marketing a completely different side of your business of one. That's going to confuse employers and it's going to muddy the waters. So you really want to make sure that for the most part it's pretty consistent on both your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Now, in terms of LinkedIn tricks to kind of help you ramp up those areas, so never say seeking opportunities on your profile. A lot of people will put this to show employers and recruiters that they are open to opportunities. They are, looking to get hired. Unfortunately, this is a waste of space on your LinkedIn profile. So unfortunately, it's also kind of shows them that you're a little bit desperate. It kind of brands you as being a little bit desperate, even though that's not the intent and you might not be. But, when you're just saying seeking opportunities, it really does give off that message that you are really desperate for some kind of opportunity, some kind of job. And, that can actually hurt your brand. So it's important to avoid saying seeking opportunities, looking for new opportunities, anything like that, because again, you're wasting valuable space to put hard skill sets, and you're wasting a great opportunity to brand yourself in a positive way for that service that you provide. Okay, again, filling your headline with hard skill sets and keywords, important. Going to that specific job posting, looking for those hard skill sets, making sure it lines up for the most part with your resume, really important. And ramping up your recommendations and endorsements. You can do this by essentially going back to your old colleagues and, reaching out, touching base, and saying, hey, it was so great working with you, and I'd love to write you a recommendation. Are there any things that you want me to specifically hit on? I was thinking about A, B, and C. Anything else? So kind of asking without actually asking, saying, this is something I want to do for you. And most cases, they're going to want to return the favor and give you a good recommendation or endorse you for some skills and so on. So if you really have a lack of endorsements or recommendations, this is a good approach for you to kind of build those up over time. Okay. Again, it's kind of like a bonus to your profile, having those third-party reviews. I don't know about you, but I don't buy anything these days without looking at reviews first. I want to see what other people are saying. I want to see what other people love about a product or service. I want to see what they're, not so thrilled about. And of course, thankfully, you don't have, they're not going to write you recommendations that, don't promote you, but you can really focus on those character traits that make you a good team player, those skill sets that make you good at what you do, and so on. So having that type of review on your profile is really important. So if you want more help kind of getting these and asking for recommendations, definitely go to our LinkedIn Plan course. And you can also work with our coaching team to figure out how you can ask appropriately without being too pushy. Okay? Awesome. So yes, just so you guys know, you literally have everything you need inside the platform. You've got your coaching, you've got the app, you can interact with the members if you're feeling stuck. I'm seeing a lot of that, which is amazing. If you're feeling stuck, share it with the community. In a group, in the feed. People are here to support you and to help keep you accountable. It's really important that you leverage the community that you're in, okay? We're all in this together. This is a club. We're all here to grow and help each other out. Attend live events like this. We have a whole bunch of events that I'm actually scheduling out today, but we also have 2 more this week. I think one of them is on branding, and I can't remember what the other, starting a new job potentially. I can't remember, but go into the events tab to see everything that we have lined up for you guys. Obviously, leveraging those supplemental courses and templates, like I mentioned, definitely go to the resume plan, cover letter plan, LinkedIn plan to go more in depth with what we talked about today. And of course, take action daily. Get inside the platform every single day, message a coach, chat with another member, share something in the feed, take a poll, whatever it is. Make sure that you're constantly striving to work it daily, literally daily, right? So making sure that you're keeping yourself accountable and scheduling this into your life. It's really important. Okay, again, just some of the courses that, will give you more in-depth information about what we talked about today, just so you have them. And let's get to questions. All right. Hopefully that was helpful, you guys. I know that was a ton of information, but hopefully it was helpful. All right, I'll get back on screen here. Awesome. Hello again. Okay. Ooh, question. So when submitting resume to coaching team for professional, should I submit master resume, the long resume, or the customized resume for the particular role? Great question, Shane. You should actually submit your customized resumes, because we can really help you pinpoint exactly what needs to be changed. And in fact, what you should be doing is sending your resume along with that job description, so that way we have a frame of reference, so we can say, okay, well, this matches up, but maybe we can be emphasizing this more in your resume, or maybe we need to be changing this out in favor of this. That way we can really help you make it as customized as possible for that opportunity, okay? So essentially, the master resume is going to be literally everything in your career just in our format, so it makes it easy for you to pull and make those customized resumes. Great question. Awesome. Yes, having that master resume, guys, I can't stress enough how important it is if you really want to streamline your search, because I know so many people who will create their resumes from scratch every single time or just send out the same resume, and both of those techniques are not the most efficient nor effective, right? So it's really important for you to have that big resume and then essentially copy and paste the most relevant information. All right. Question, can a cover letter mention a professional certification I'm in the process of completing? I can't add it to the resume if it's not completed. So actually you can say in your cover letter, if this is really relevant to the role and you feel like it's a good example to share, you can say, I'm in the process of completing my XYZ certification because I realize that this is really going to help me build my ABC skills so I can really contribute on another level. Something along those lines, more in depth, of course. And on your resume, if you really want to add it, you can list the certification, but instead of having the years, where we usually put the years for the certifications, you would just say, in progress or expected the year or the date that you're expecting to complete that. So that way they see that you're in the process of developing yourself, but you're not lying to them and saying, I do have this certification, right? So that's a way around that. Awesome. Great questions. Great. Okay, not a ton of questions today. That's all right. So great. So if you guys have any more questions, of course, feel free to reach out to us at the coaching team, coaching team-professional level. And of course, if you're an executive, coaching team-executive level, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Of course, you can view this recording shortly after the live session today. You can just go into events, hit the past button, and then scroll down to this session and then click the link that's in there and it should show up. But I think it's like within 24 hours it has to process. So if you don't see it immediately, just wait a little bit longer and it should show up. Okay. Ooh, one last question from Maureen. So awesome. Regarding skills, how would I show my leadership management skills? I've managed to 3 and had assistants. I've taken classes too. Great question. So yes, again, going back to those quantifiable accomplishments, Maureen. So showcasing that you've managed, 3 people, that you've had assistants, that you've taken classes. So you can list your classes in your professional development or your additional experience. That's a great way to showcase that experience. Again, telling us exactly, how many people you managed, when in your career did you grow at that point? Like, did you go from having an assistant to managing 3 people, or, what was the accomplishment there? How did you grow? What were the numbers associated with that? So that really shows the depth of your experience in your leadership and management skills. Okay. So, again, to showcase team management, managed a team of 3, in the customer support department. It's simple, but it does showcase that you have this type of experience. Okay, so great question, but always go back to the quantifiable accomplishments. If you want to showcase how much experience you have, definitely figure out where you can add numbers, okay, because that's really going to show the depth of your experience. Great work. Awesome. Ooh. So what happens if my background doesn't really lend itself to quantifiable descriptions? Philip, great question. So actually, most cases, you do have a way to quantify. Okay, so, and we have a great video on quantifying your accomplishments, but essentially the trick is to list out all of your tasks in the projects that you're responsible for, just list them out, and then go through and circle or underline or highlight each noun in those responsibilities or those tasks and say, okay, so how can I, quantify this? How can I add a number? So, for example, using that management, so manage a team on the customer support department. Okay, so how many people were on that team? Okay, so let's see, answered customer support inquiries. Okay, so how many customer support inquiries did you have to answer on average every day? How frequently did you have to do that? I guarantee that we can quantify the majority of your bullet points. And if you really want help doing that, please send us your resume. We can figure out how we can quantify those for you and where we should quantify. But definitely go through and look for the nouns in those bullet points and say, can I tie a number to this? Okay, so just to show that depth of experience. Great question. Ooh, comment from Tim. The LinkedIn plan is great. I've been receiving 15 to 20 views per week since implementing the Work at Daily Design. My current views are 4 times what I received prior to the Work at Daily Design. That's awesome, Tim. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm so happy it's working for you. It's crazy how little changes can really affect your brand and how you're being seen by employers and how often you're being seen by employers. So I'm so happy it's working for you. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you all, everybody. I'm so happy that you joined me today, and we have sessions tomorrow and I believe Thursday, so definitely tune in for those as well. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.